Hello, Sci Fi Gangsters. Welcome to the second Sci Fi Gangster show. I guess that's what we're going to call it, right? You think anything better than that? I'm your host, Anthony Dannar, my co-host, Jeremy Shepard here. And we got a special guest, Will Moon.
I'm special.
Radio DJ, hipster expert.
Thanks. That's never going to die.
I got you on retainer. You're my hipster, my resident hipster.
What do you think of PBR?
Exactly. Mustache grease. But today we got some great topics. We're going to talk about Batman vs. Superman trailer. We're going to talk about the Captain America Civil War trailer. There it is. There we go. I'm going to add that in later. Don't worry about it. The Batman vs. Superman trailer released. And people have different opinions on it. Some people liked it. Some people didn't like it. We're kind of talking a little bit about it, what we liked, what we didn't like. And let's go ahead and start off with Will. What did you like and dislike about the Batman vs. Superman trailer?
Well, Man of Steel is such a movie. People hate that movie. I really hate that movie.
Some people don't hate that movie.
Yeah, there's a few that don't. But vocally, though, there's a large, and I didn't really care for it very much, honestly. I liked a lot of aspects of it, but I thought that the backstory was just, horrible to you. In the first hour of the movie, there's just no time for any of it to breathe. And they hit the Jesus thing, really hard. It's like, okay, he's Jesus. Chill. Lois Lane is a very difficult character to get right because even in the comics, they kind of keep her, even though she's a love interest, she's always still sort of spunky reporter Lois Lane, and sometimes that can be a problem. But you don't want her to be crabby, and she's not. She's unpleasant in the movie, as much as I like Amy Adams. And then there's the more publicized, spoiler alert, kill Zod at the end.
That's right.
And
don't want to spoil that movie.
Yeah, and so many other more the kids on the bus, the whole father, you should have let them die, that people just mock. And it probably gets a little bit more hate than it really deserves, but it's not a particularly great movie. And this movie, I have no problem with Ben Affleck as Batman.
Okay.
That's been such a big people just going crazy about that. I actually like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I think it can be a very good addition. I don't have a problem with Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Okay.
As much as that's been an issue, I think that there's a way to do it for him. It's very reminiscent of Social Network, Mark Zuckerberg. I think that's exactly what they're trying.
It looks like it. That's what they're doing.
I think that's just him.
He can't do anything else.
He's like Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
The same character.
Yeah. As far as the trailer itself, I'm coming around on Wonder Woman. I think that she could end up maybe being the best part of this movie. The way
really?
They're pushing it. Henry Cavill as Superman is fine, but Zack Snyder's still a problem. I mean, the dude's got talent, sure, but he has difficulty with restraint and tone, and it's more colorful looking, which is important. I don't like these super grim, dour looking ones that they're comic book. Look at the wall.
Still look pretty dark.
And
it still look pretty dark.
But his blue on the suit looked blue. It doesn't look like gray blue.
Right.
It's not in black and white.
Yeah. Doomsday looks like the Abomination from the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk that nobody really remembers.
Yeah.
Which
for
that's
good reason also.
not a good thing. And honestly, I wish they wouldn't use Doomsday.
Okay.
But, 'cause Doomsday is like Bane and then Parallax. And they already made this mistake with the Green Lantern movie. It's one of 1,000 mistakes they made in that movie. Those are all characters that come around in the 90s after the heroes that they fight. So Superman, Batman, Green Lantern have all been around for a very long time. And in the comics, they're older. They're not these aren't year one type stories. So they're supposed to be new, very powerful threats, different from all the threats we've seen before. And in each case, they sort of best the guy. Bane breaks Batman's back. Spoiler alert again. Doomsday kills Superman, and then the Superman is unkilled in the classic comic book way. And in Parallax, they kind of retcon this, but he takes over Hal Jordan and causes all sorts of bad stuff to happen. The timing of them is important for later. So using Doomsday this early, I think, is maybe a mistake. I'd rather they make, because they're probably going to go with the Zod clone Doomsday thing, which Michael Shannon's tried to walk back ever since that Flipper comment he made on, I think it was Conan. But I would rather that be Bizarro. I think that there's a better way to make it Bizarro. But, There'll be plenty of mayhem. Batman's using a gun, which people act like it's never happened before, even though he uses guns in every movie. They're not guns. They're not kills with a bullet gun, but they're guns. It's a little bit more humorous looking. That's a plus because the first movie was really dour, and these things are still comic books. And then, I guess the Eisenberg Luthor sort of is jokery. Is something that people are a little worried about.
I thought he was a little more riddlery.
Yeah, I can see that too. DC has a problem, especially since the Ledger Joker in The Dark Knight came out and became such an iconic performance. They have a problem with overdoing the Joker, making him too powerful at the expense of other Batman villains, or trying to make other villains like the Joker. They did that in the 90s with Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face in Batman Forever. It's one of the worst parts of that movie. Because Two-Face is a great character, and then they make him just the Joker with bad makeup. I'm willing to give it some space. I think maybe that his, you're not going to fight with this man. Like scene is more of a show in the performance, like it's a show for them and the public.
I sort of hope so.
More sinister in the other scenes that you see him in there.
Because
I'm assuming at that point he knows that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and he knows
that's what a lot of people are thinking.
Superman.
It would make sense.
One thing that kind of was a little cringeworthy in terms of Lex Luthor is when that line that he uses. I can't remember how exactly it goes, but if God can't do it, the devil do it. Like that's just a really ooh.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I hope that's an alternate take.
Maybe I hope so. Because he's just all into it, He's just like clunky.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the Batman vs Superman trailer? What'd you like?
I liked basically everything about it. It excited me a lot more than the previous one. And the previous one I thought was much better than what I was expecting.
Okay.
When the first teaser came out. I'm okay with Wonder Woman being in it. I'm not sure if she's needed. But the only thing I don't like is I'm okay with them doing Doomsday. I just don't like him being Zod. Like Doomsday was an interesting enough character in the comics that I think that's how they should do it. I don't think they should make him just some zombie clone of Zod. And that's really the only thing I'm not crazy about. So.
Okay, so when I watched the trailer, there's a lot of things that worried me about it. Okay, I actually really enjoyed the first trailer that came out. I actually thought it was a much better trailer than the Star Wars trailer that came out around the same time. Everybody got really excited about the Star Wars trailer that came out. I thought the Batman vs Superman trailer was a way better trailer. This one worries me for one reason. Doomsday looks stupid. Doomsday looks really dumb. Yeah. I mean, there's people saying he looks like a Ninja Turtle. He looks like the Abomination.
He looks like a Ninja Turtle from the movies.
To me, he looks like a cave troll. Like I'm expecting Frodo to pop out of there. I mean, he really does look like a cave troll. And when I saw that, I was like, ooh, because it makes me think that the third act of the movie is going to be the generic CGI. All right, this is the bad guy that we all have to fight now, and they kill him, and it's over. Like it's just to me that worries me, and I feel like it takes away from. I understand that Batman and Superman need to come together to fight a foe. I understand that, but I just feel like they're really trying to force Justice League on us now. Like they're just like, okay, this is supposed to be Batman versus Superman. But let's go ahead and do the Justice League. It's like a pre-Justice League movie. Right?
Well, I mean, it took the entire Justice League to even slow Doomsday down.
Okay.
Like, if they were going to do Doomsday, I think they should have set up the Justice League first and then done it properly.
Because he plows through the International. He plows through, like, on the way to Metropolis.
Oh, yeah.
In the comic. Yeah, because, he was talking about it. Doomsday's origin is intense.
Okay.
It's, I don't even know if we have time to get into it.
But, so basically he's incredibly old.
Yeah.
Like 250,000 years before
So
Superman.
he wasn't created from Zod's body is what you're trying to tell me.
No, like he was made by a Krypton scientist, but it was before there was even the Kryptonian civilization.
Yeah, they weren't even humanoid at the time.
Okay.
That's how long ago
And it was basically the surface of the Earth, or the surface of Krypton, was inhabitable. So the scientists kept sending this kid out to the Earth, and he would kill, or out to the surface of Krypton, and he would be killed. And basically took the remnants and continued to clone them over and over. And sort of the idea of this genetic imprinting eventually you just came up with the ultimate weapon, and that was Doomsday.
And
So intense.
I also didn't like Wonder Woman. I feel that it takes a lot from the movie. I actually, because it's Batman versus Superman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like the presence of Wonder Woman sort of feels out of place. It sort of doesn't make a lot of sense to me. It's almost like like I said before, where they're like, okay, we need to get Justice League. We need to get it started. Go ahead and throw her in there.
She's the one's probably going to get them to stop bickering.
Yeah, she's going to be the voice of reason, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's the other question going forward. How adversarial are they going to be?
Right.
Because up until Crisis on Infinite Earth, they were just best battles, the way that all comic book characters were back in the day. And then after, Batman Year One and the Man of Steel comic series, they established the sort of shaky, well, I guess the Dark Knight Returns established them as almost full enemies, and they kind of walked that back.
Well, we already
For the
know that
comic
this Superman in
series.
this universe is sort of an asshole, right?
Yeah.
And you can tell from the trailer that he's kind of an asshole. He's saying stuff like, I could kill you if I wanted to. I mean, it's like, really, Superman?
Yeah, like the one thing, other than Doomsday, that I didn't like is that it makes Superman out to be an asshole. But he's such a boring character otherwise
Maybe.
that it probably is an improvement.
Okay. I can see that.
He can be. Superman is difficult, and there's a whole
it's
one of these we could do about Superman, and
Right.
in the Christopher Reeve and Brandon Routh versions, and now Henry Cavill, and why he's hard to do, and why Batman is always so much more cinematic character. You
Right,
can
yeah.
get your hand around Batman. A lot of Superman's conflict is internal.
Yeah.
And there's almost two different versions of the character. There's one where his greatest villain's Lex Luthor, and this is more the earthbound Superman, kind of from the Golden Age, where he really is. He's the last son of Krypton. He's on a planet where he's an alien, and he kind of is Space Jesus, which is sort of what they've printed in the last two movies. It's been all over it. And Luthor sees him as a bit of a threat. Now, sometimes Luthor's just a bad guy. That's kind of where he started. He's your typical mad scientist. They made him more, and I think in this one they're definitely going with that he thinks he's the good guy.
Right.
That Superman's a threat and needs to be stopped. So a lot of his conflict is his place in this world. Kind of like Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen.
Okay.
That gets informed a lot by that idea. And Alan Moore wrote a lot of Superman stories kind of like that. Then there's the more Silver Age Superman where you've got Supergirl and you've got Krypto, the Superdog, and you've got General Zod and all the villains from the Phantom. So Krypton isn't nearly as dead as it was supposed to be. There's suddenly a whole bunch of Kryptonians. And then you got Doomsday, who's thousands and millions of years old. Yeah, so it's Krypton all over it. And these are more of the space-based, swashbuckling type ones. And I think the villain that we're going to get, probably either in the next Superman movie or in the first Justice League, is Brainiac. Is my favorite Superman villain. But that's a different tone of character. Mr. Mxyzptlk or whatever it's pronounced, it goes up in those. So those are a lot more just like down the rabbit hole, Silver Age insanity. Yeah. And they're struggling with what they want to do because it's easier on a budget to show the first one. Where so get a bald guy, have him be the bad guy, and he'll monologue a bunch like Gene Hackman or Kevin Spacey did, and then you can kind of keep all of his struggles to like effects real in Metropolis, like you were talking about. Or then there's let's go into space and let's have a robot that's an android and then has a model city and there's all sorts of lunacy that can come from that. And I'm in CGI now. So I'm curious about Brainiac was going to be the villain in Bryan Singer's aborted sequel to Superman Returns. Right. So he kind of looks Darth Vader-y, which would have been sort of interesting. They've been rumoring him from the get-go. Either he'll be the villain in Justice League Part 1, or they'll have Darkseid be the villain.
I think they're going Darkseid.
Because the parademon thing.
Yeah.
And in the Batman dream sequence, which everybody assumes is a nightmare, and that's where he's dressed up as a
That's another thing.
World War II Batman.
If it's not, I know he's wearing a trench
by
coat.
disguise.
It's over his bat suit. That's another thing that maybe kind of think, but man, Superman really is an asshole where he just takes a mask off.
He's like all smeary, like a smeary villain.
Why do you need this? You just put on glasses. No one knows.
I'm putting down your Rex to Batman. But then you see in that he's fighting the different House of L troops, the guys with the Superman logos on their shoulders, and you see what look like parademons. And this is one of 1,000 videos probably mentioned this. And they're the shock troops of Darkseid. Darkseid's coming. Either he'll be in Justice League 1, he'll be in Justice League 2, or he'll be in both.
Yeah.
He's the Thanos of this. And, it's like the 8th time that Marvel is going to take a character from their comics, who in the comics, they pretty much just ripped off from DC. But they're going to get him on the screen in the movies first.
Right.
So when the movies come out for DC, they look like they were the ones copying Marvel.
Mhm.
Thor and Loki is about to get completely redone with Ocean Master and Aquaman in that movie. Almost the exact same relationship. Ultron is Brainiac. Thanos is Darkseid. I mean, they've done it several times already.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
DC, they kind of lost this. But Thanos is the big bad of the Marvel Universe. We've already seen that. We'll talk about that more probably in a minute. And Darkseid is going to be that for DC because of all the big bads they got. There are other ones who are as powerful, the Anti-Monitor. There's a few others. Darkseid probably perpetually is the one that's the biggest threat to the DC Universe, just in general, and they'll probably put him in that place in the movies.
All right, good. That was a good topic.